from reading all of these from reading all of these texts, maybe not. Oh my God, someone want to help me out with that little dreadlock? From reading all these texts, I've come to the conclusion that possibly, we've got it all wrong. How specifically? Specifically, all right, let me paint you a picture. I'm going to paint you a picture. You go to the beach to see a beautiful sunset. You've never seen a sunset ever in your life. This is your first time. Never seen a sunset. You're stoked on life. Woo, gonna see a sunset. You get there, toes in the sand. You feel the water. You smell the salty air. You smell the fish, the seaweed. Cool breeze, just whiskers across your skin. Pelicans are clipping the tops of their waves as they glide across the glassiness of the sea. It's just, the whole thing is phenomenal. It's just the most exquisite moment, and the potential of that is us now, is you now. However, our focus isn't on that. Our focus is oneness. Now, hear me out. I'm not trying. There's two paths. One path goes from separation to oneness. The other one goes from oneness to separation. Hello, Michael. And one of the reasons, every single and conglomerate thing in existence is the reason for existence. But the point is, it takes me to this next point, which I've been thinking about, which is calling it the separation track. Now, the separation track is this idea that duality and separation is a bad thing, when all it does is it allows experience to unfold. Back to the beautiful sunset. Notice how contrasting the moment is. It's sunset, so you're going into night, but you have this burning ball of fire in the distance. Right? So it's the contrast between the dark and the light. You can feel depending on where I'm at, I can feel the warmth on my skin, but the coolness of the breeze. The sun's rays heat you up, but the breeze is cool. So you have the contrast of the hot and the cold, of the light and the dark. You feel the grittiness between your toes, and it's wet and it's watery, right? So now your senses are involved. Your sense of smell, your sense of sight, your sense of touch. All these vibrations, frequencies, whatever you want to call it, are evoked within you. You're resonating with the beauty of this sunset, because that's our goal. Our goal is to sort of seek out beautiful things, and because they make us feel more alive. Or maybe not to seek out beautiful things, but to make us seek out things that make us feel more alive, because that's sort of the point. We want to actualize our experience as much as possible. And we do that by bumping it up, by giving a more amplification behind it. Hello, Fran. Nice to meet you, Fran. And the more we understand the properties of this world, the laws of this world, then the more easily we can create these experiences that make us feel more alive. And so most of the conversations in spirituality tend towards getting back to oneness. When it's like, getting back to oneness is great. That's one side of the coin. But what about the other side of the coin, which teaches you how to operate in this world? What are the laws to operate in this world? How do we go further in this world? How do yes, getting back to oneness, it could be great, but who's to say we don't get there and we go, hey, we want experiences again. We want the infiniteness of the universes. You can create any sort of creation you want. imaginable, but you have to do it in the lower realms because this is where we can apply law and rules. There is no law and rule inside of oneness. That it is outside of, above, and the container in which all those things exist. But for something to individualize and exist means it has to be cut off from source, and that is, and one way to put it, the ego. That is the fall from grace. That is the incarnation of evil itself. Is that illusion of separation that we have. Quite a persistent illusion, one could say. Quite a persistent illusion, one might say. And that's why I always argue for this idea that there is no such thing as polarity when you get to the next dimension, or, it's all oneness in this realm, but only the third dimension of all the infinite dimensions, only the third one has the law of polarity. It would make more sense to say that all laws apply to all realities. And we do. We say as above, so below. That's exactly what that's saying. As above, so below, as below, so above. That phrase is basically saying that law exists as law exists here, so law exists everywhere. So law exists everywhere. The degree at which they manifest changes, but not the law itself. And so that's where we're at. So I had this idea. I was like, all right, so yeah, everyone wants to talk about how to get to oneness, how to ascend, how to leave behind the reality that we're in and get to, quote unquote, a better reality, a sort of the grass is always greener on the other side type of reality. When maybe we should be learning how to figure this one out, man. Maybe. That's what and that's why we study alchemy. That's why you guys are on alchemical pages. That's why you guys are on the law of the Hermetic, the laws of the Hermetic philosophy, which surprisingly not many people know about. I was shocked to find out that not a lot of people know about the Hermetic philosophy, or the 7 laws of the Kabbalion, which are broken down from the Hermetic philosophy. However, here we are doing our thing. Let me see some. And I guess the further nuts and bolts are, what are those laws? How do we operate from them? How do we make sense of, not even how do we make sense, but how do we really enjoy ourselves in this reality? Can I create things and be happy? Can I involve myself in the material physical world and still be considered a spiritual person? The answer is yes, by the way. To completely take yourself out of the material realm, out of your current reality, and plant your head solely in the sky is not the way to do it. Hello, Rusty Utter. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So I had this idea for path from oneness to separation. What a time, Michael. What a time to be alive in our world. Well said. So path from oneness to separation is basically that. Oneness goes to separation, and the mere act of separating itself into an infinite amount of different aspects allows all the beautiful, wonderful, and terrible, insane things that exist. I thought that might be noteworthy. What a time to be alive and aware. What a time to be alive and aware. There's, of course, step 1, simple stuff like meditation. Just sitting still and silent 5-10 minutes a day, every day. That's power. That's debatably the ultimate power, because what you're training yourself to do is is the ability to focus your attention and energy, and that's what reality is. Reality is condensed to some degree, whether higher or lower. It's still condensed to some degree. Reality, and the more amplification we can put behind that frequency, that vibration, the more real that thing becomes. Meaning, like, the more definition it has. supplied by contrast, like that sunset we were talking about earlier. The contrast between warm sun, a warm hot sun, and cool air against your skin is a very interesting contrast of senses. And then the brightness of the sun dipping below the horizon and turning into night is like, you look behind you and you have darkness and stars. You look in front of you, you have the sun burning in front of your eyeballs. And that contrast between night and day, the ball of fire out there and the moon following it, that contrast of vision brings us to life. It actualizes beauty for us that much more. We resonate with it because it makes us feel more alive. No, that's why people are so fascinated with war when they're that's why, or any terrible thing, period, is because when you put an extreme amount of focus and energy and emotion, concentration into a thing, it becomes more actualized and it makes us feel more alive. That's why almost dying makes you feel more alive, because again, the contrast between death and life being so close to each other, you go, oh my God, right? Or someone passes suddenly, your entire, that contrast of, wow, they were here yesterday, I just spoke with them and now they're gone forever. That juxtaposition between life and death being so close, they make each other that much more real. Death becomes much more real when it's suddenly taken from life, and life becomes that much more precious, more actualized, more realized by the liver from the contrast of death. Man, it's that. So this is the path from oneness to separation. It is separating things so that we can have an infinite amount of experiences, and we inherently understand that because of how drawn we are to contrast, and because contrast makes things more real. You can think of it like photography. When you crank up the contrast in a picture, what you're doing is you're cranking up the definition of the lines between the objects within the picture, and as a result you get beauty. You're like, oh my God, that photo of the flower I took, it just pops, it's so beautiful. One of my favorite editing things back in the day would be take a picture of a flower, darken the background, and pop the colors of only the flower itself, so it was almost like the flower was superimposed on the object, and that contrast of the dull but still beautiful background behind the vibrant rose was just like, oh my God, it's beautiful. If you're a musician or you like music, you hear a big old finale of the biggest finale of your favorite song, right? It's tend to be followed with just a few very tastefully, they'll drop out the strings, they'll drop out the drums, and they'll just go back to the cello or just go back to the violin, come back to the melody that was carrying the whole song, but just have one person play it beautifully, simply, softly. And that contrast between the massive climax of the song to the finishing touches is like, right? It's so satisfying. This is the path of oneness to separation, and I believe it's noteworthy. I feel like it's noteworthy, like it should be talked about. Why is this important? I feel like it's important because in order for these things to continue being what they're being, like in order for polarity to exist, in order for vibration and your frequencies to exist, there has to be law and order, and the law and order that dictates how things are made manifest. Hello, Los Brooklyn. That's one of the things I do: photography, paint, music, and science. I feel like, Rusty Otter, there comes a point in the alchemists, truth seek, I don't know, just people on this level where they just they become interested in things like photography, paint, music, and science, because there's a great deal of art, and art is one of those things that beautifully blends creation together. It's got the flow of the feminine, but it's got the masculine is the definition. The masculine force is the boundary for a thing, and the feminine is the what exists in the container of that boundary, which is damn near infinite, and it sort of fuels the fuel for the creation that is to be, while the masculine shapes the creation that is to be, and holds the form for the creation that is to be, both in tandem, making it sound so simple to handle. I guess we talk about this a lot, so it gets easier. It gets easier. I mean, I think that's why a lot of the greats just say follow beauty. That's it. You can write books about beauty, which are wonderful. Read them, but you can also bear witness to beauty and get maybe same, if not more, satisfaction out of it, because beauty gives us that. Beauty gives us contrast. It gives us polarity, frequency, vibration, all of it. All of that's, I can say a picture carries 1,000 words. A song, art, or you could say art in general. An art piece contains 1,000 words, if not more. Not more. Anywho, would love to see some of your paintings, photography, and music. Rusty, if that's one of the things you're into. Harmony and peace. Yes, harmony and peace. Harmony is a good way to put it. Oh, but also disharmony. That's what I'm saying. Harmony and peace is also disharmony and chaos. I'm being a bit facetious now, but yeah, I've been I got this. I made this cool. What is it? It's not Printify, or maybe it is Printify. It's not Shopify, where you create your own things. I put mushrooms. Okay, so actually, I created notebooks to sell on the Etsy shop for just taking notes. I was originally for journaling, and I ended up just making dope ass ones for myself, and now I just use them. And it's this cool mushroom notebook. And I script all my videos and write ideas and speeches down and stuff like that. What was I saying? Oh, I wrote down notes. That's where I was getting at. Where was I? How to stay grounded in a spiritual world lies perfectly in tandem with what we're talking about. Like, this is how you stay grounded. One way to stay grounded is just be on the ground, which is the material world. Isn't that funny? Like, they always say that the answer is in the question, how do I stay grounded in a spiritual world? Well, if the spiritual to you represents ascension to be the next Christ, and grounded means literally the ground beneath your feet, then the answer is, well, stay on the ground beneath your feet. Silly. Anywho, how to stay grounded. I think one of the biggest ways to stay grounded is to literally exactly the example that I just said, which is bear witness to as much beauty as you possibly can. Sunsets, plays, art, music, all sorts of music. I'm sure you might love seeing your favorite band. Go watch a symphony. Go watch a ballet or something. You know what I mean? Like, as much variation of genuine beauty as you can come across, that's grounded. Because to do that is to involve yourself in all the processes in their most beautiful form, their most well thought out form via art. Like, there's no way to witness law and the possibility of existence in one setting than a beautiful piece of art. Whatever form of media you choose that art to be in. Oh man. You see everything. You see intellect, you see feeling, you see brain, mind, you see heart, intuition, you see contrast, you see vibration, you see cause and effect, you see all the principles, man. You all just thrown together in a it helps us break the separation track. That's actually what I wrote down to begin with, was the separation track. Um, I don't know. I can't help but feel people have not the best relationship to the material world as they should. And it makes me sad because we all want beautiful things to exist in the material realm, but we demonize it more often than not. It just makes me sad. All right, where are we at? I had a. Is that it? Are you it? I think you're it. Okay, I can unplug this. Just remember, death. It's also a contrast. Yeah, it definitely is a contrast. All right. With all that being said, may I interject something? Answer in the question, meaning of life, is life has meaning. Well said, Ben Hudson. Life has meaning. The goal of one. Here's how we blend the two together. Man, this could be its own standalone video. You guys are getting some nice scripting material here. The way to be spiritually inept and be grounded material is when we do manifest things to do on the material realm, which is the goal. Number one goal, materialize things here on the material realm. That's why it's called materialize. Be it your goal to manifest the highest vibrational representation of that thing. Simplified, when you have a creation, make it magical as fuck and make it as good as possible for at least you, to start with you and yours immediately, and then think of the greater world at large, sincerely and genuinely, with your overall well-being. I feel like we get a lot of information like that in the Colburn, which is like, how do you live, how do you treat relationships of all natures, how do you treat your children, how do you treat your elders, how do you navigate the world as a human being? Are you kind? Are you thoughtful? Are you considerate? With that in mind, as you create the things that you want to create, you will naturally create things which elevate the world to the heavens. But it starts here. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Like if you're walking a staircase and you're getting, and heaven is at the 20th step, you can't just jump to heaven. You gotta start with step one. If you're really good at stairs, maybe you can jump 6, 7 stairs at once. But unless you're Michael Jordan, you ain't gonna skip all 20. And if you do skip all 20, as above, so below, here's some correspondence for you. If you can skip 20, there's a reason why. You worked out, you trained hard. You created yourself a vessel that was capable of skipping 20 steps. So goes with the spiritually inept. Sure, you can skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in one go. But maybe you had a multitude of previous lives where you were able to accumulate enough knowledge to where you could make those leaps and bounds. Anywho, there is a way to be both spiritual and material and love them both and do them both well. Like, why wouldn't we? Why hasn't that been the main topic for discussion this entire time? It was like, why in God's name have we been demonizing duality and demonizing separation and demonizing the material realm, and as if it wasn't the other side of the same coin? Why wouldn't it make most sense to bring them both together? Right? The perfect masculine with the perfect feminine to create the perfect offspring. Yada. Hermetic principles are my foundations that cleanse my soul, clear my mind, and accept what is. Well said, Ben Hudson. Well So don't compete. If you are doing it for yourself, you can't lose. When it comes to art, I agree wholeheartedly, Rusty Utter. When it comes to art and sort of, you know what I mean, creating something. I mean, when it comes to creating things, you have. It's like we have an absolute desire and we need it to be manifest as we want it with all the nuances so that we get the feeling out of it that we want. In which case, yeah, you can't do no wrong. You just have to be true to yourself, baby. I feel like we're raised to avoid it, to be afraid. Yeah, I was. I've been listening to who was it? His name Rick Ross? Oh no, Rick Ross, Rick Rubin, the famous producer, and he was just saying he said exactly what you said. And I've heard it before, but I don't know why it was so. Man, why it hit me so deep when he said it, and that was he's like when you're creating art or specifically when you're writing music, it should be a diary entry. He says one, and that you can't have a bad diary entry. Like you can't. Like someone's not gonna read your diary and be like, oh my god, he felt this. Like this is the wrong way to feel. Like you don't read someone's diary to tell them that this is the wrong way they feel. You read someone's diary because you want to know what they feel, and period. You want to know their existence of the world, which isn't right or wrong. It's just an existence. It's when you're creating art, writing music, creating anything for that matter. If you treat it as a diary entry where you're just expressing what you're going through as eloquently as one can, then that's all that matters, and tends to be the most impactful, meaningful type of art. When again expressed right, when you learn the rules of your craft, that is, which is what a lot of people want to overlook when it comes to art. They don't want to be restricted. I don't want to follow any rules, but what all they're saying is they don't know how to follow rules, because you're gonna have to follow rules if you want to create art. Period. Whether it's rules on, if you're a calligraphy artist and you have to study different calligraphy scripts, or if you want to create your own script, you have to know how to hold the pen properly. You have to learn how to hold the angle of the pen to the paper so you can get different strokes, right? Or you can create your own type of stroke, but you have to get used to the tip of the pen. So okay, I know if I swirl the pen like this, it's gonna like we can't avoid law and order. We can't avoid rules. Period. And the sad part is it's like saying you want to avoid the masculine in every aspect of your life. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. The idea, like you guys already mentioned with the Hermetics, is to understand how law operates so that when you do go to create something, it's as perfect as it can be. Never reaching perfection, of course, thank God, because then existence would stop. But at least heading towards perfection, right? Heading towards perfection while creating the things we want to create. And that's, man, baby. That's it. Oh, that's how we run it. Something you would want to hear / see again. If you can't enjoy it yourself, you can't expect others to enjoy it. Oh man, and I love everything I make. I still listen to my audiobooks that I've made years ago. It's something magical about it. Really is. Ben Hudson, gender isn't everything. Yes, well said. Well said. Oh man, Rusty, thank you. Thank you. I just finished Rudolf Steiner and was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed that text. Also, unpleasantly surprised on how long it took me to read. I was like, 92 pages? Dope. This should be like an hour and a half tops. It ended up being 5.5 hours. Wowzers. Oh, Ben, thanks so much. Isn't it crazy? I've been using AI myself, so I don't want to criticize too hard. But I'm seeing so many fully automated YouTube channels now that are just AI everything. which I don't mind because AI makes some dope stuff, but not AI voice, dude. I can't do AI voice. It's just not. It's just not there. It doesn't. It still doesn't sound human, and everyone's using it. And I was sad at first because I thought, wow, these guys can pump out a 10-hour audiobook in an afternoon. But now that everyone's using AI generated voices, I feel that the real voices out there are still getting love. And if we're one of the only real voices remaining out there, then a negative has turned to a positive, and we have alchemized that. What up? Alchemization in action. Hopefully, we'll see. Or we just have to change courses altogether. No, it doesn't. It doesn't have that certain something. It has a lot. The AI voices are pretty phenomenal. They've come a long way. But there's times where in a text you have to read, like, the entire paragraph has to be context for how you read a passage. Most of I would say 99 times out of 100, I can read and gather enough context from just a couple sentences before and ahead to be able to give the proper inflections. However, sometimes you have to read the entire paragraph, and AI doesn't do that. They just, oh, there's a question mark, so it raises the voice. Or, oh, there's an exclamation point, so it talks a little faster, and it's not. Sometimes you gotta get real quiet for a little bit, like and come real close to the microphone so that you can make a point. And sometimes you just, you guys know how it is. You guys know how it is. The audiobook stuff is such a fun, beautiful. You gotta do some acting. Yo, I got bit by I got stung by a bee yesterday. Look how gnarly that is. A bee got me. Isn't that nuts? Anywho, I will keep producing audiobooks, and I will go live in between the audiobook recordings so that my channel can stay relevant, like I'm doing right now. Like I'm doing. Oh, Altrusion is here. Oh, Altrusion, I was just showing your channel to my woman, and even she was like, dude, that guy's work is so dope. So you are an inspiration. Everyone check out Altrusion Grace Media's channel. Speaking of audiobook creators, Altrusion is and has been a inspiration, massive inspiration. Dang, bees are all hiding. I like to, you know what I just found out? That bee venom is a commodity sold all over the place and super healing. I was having real bad wrist problems because I was doing heavy lifting at work. And I found a huge pile of oak wood that I wanted to split, so I was carrying it all into the truck, all gun-ho. Anyway, I hurt my wrist, got stung by the bee, and my wrist pain went away. It's in the same arm as my wrist pain was, and it's like 100% now. Anywho. Oh, yeah, see, you got some fans in here, Altrusion. It's funny because I get accused of being AI. Just my style and editing, I suppose. No, dude, your style has been consistent since day one. You were doing shit way before AI was doing things. You should post that on your channel and post one of your very first recordings and be like, you really think that AI was pumping out stuff like this those 4 years ago? Or I'm not sure how old your channel is, but no, dude, and the anywho, I don't want to fangirl too much on your channel, but I do appreciate the pictures and stuff. I don't do too many pictures in between. I did one. When I did the Epic of Gilgamesh, I did AI generated pictures to try to tell the story, and I got that inspiration from an Anunnaki YouTube page that I follow that's super good, who uses all AI stuff, but it's still really good information and content. Anywho, including voice. Anywho, I tried doing that for the Epic of Gilgamesh, and it took me like, I don't even know, like 16 hours of editing to have Midjourney create the image that I wanted to use, and then to use those images to follow the story of the Epic of Gilgamesh. And I was like, this one's gonna slap. They have stories the whole way. Like, this one's going viral. And it didn't go viral at all. It had one peak. So I'm like, God. Anywho. Thanks, Altrusion. That was actually my first introduction to Rudolf Steiner. And then I just realized that you created that same audiobook a month ago. I swear to God, I didn't know that when I started recording it. But it also made me think maybe that's on the sphere of things. And that being my first reading of Steiner, I really appreciated it. We were talking about that in this video, the importance of, or how to stay grounded in a spiritual world. And the answer was, be here in the material world. This is where the magic happens. Like, get your head out of the clouds. Use the laws of the universe wisely to manifest what is here, and do it with kindness and love in your heart, and that's what will raise you to the heavens, by creating things here and now. Anywho, what was I saying? Oh, what I appreciated about Steiner is that he really embodied that, and he really in that specific text, I can't remember the exact phrases, but it was something along the lines of, if you negate the physical world for the spiritual, then you are doomed to failure. I'm using my own words, but more or less that's what he's saying. And he said that a few times in that text, and I really appreciated it, because I don't get that from many modern spiritualists. I'm sure they would say that if you asked them. I'm sure they would and do agree if you asked them, but it's not talked about enough. It's not mentioned enough how important mastering the physical world is. Mastering the three-dimensional, like, this is here. You want to get to the fourth, you do it here. You want to get to the fifth, do it here. You want to get to the dream realm, like, as far as we're concerned, as we exist on this plane, we do it here in the waking world. And the ability to do that well, oh man, that's how we build pyramids. That's how your boy lives his dream of growing a frankincense orchard of just thousands of frankincense trees littering the hillsides. Maybe littering was a good word, but you get what I'm saying. You want to bring back Atlantis? We do it here. You want to build a colony on Mars? You develop the technology here. You want to learn to astral project at will? You do it here. You know what I mean? Until people give their agency up to their personal AI, then none will be able to think. Totally off topic, but much appreciated, Hudson. Off topic, but much appreciated, and well said, and agreed. Altruism, may I suggest, you most certainly may, The Secret Brotherhood and the Philosophy of Freedom. The Secret Brotherhood and the Philosophy of Freedom. The Secret Brotherhood and the Philosophy of Freedom. Yes, this will be my second book having a reading of Steiner's, so thank you for that. Thank you. Oh, they're separate books. Noted. So those would be 2 and 3. Thanks, Altrusion. Well, what's your next book that you're working on, Mr. Grace Media? I love that you're tapping into the Medea energy for your YouTube channel, by the way. I like that a lot. Well played, Altrusion. Well played. All right, everyone, if you're just stepping into the room, we are going... My name is Keith. Excuse me. You're a man of letters, hopefully to bring you knowledge, information, and hopefully at the very least, just a wee bit of entertainment. I just got the sudden urge to do a card pull. You might be able to do that. I'm mostly just stopping in to stay relevant, feed the algorithm monster, and to talk about the importance of understanding that the energy also goes from oneness to separation, and not only from separation to oneness. And the process of doing that unfolds to some beautiful things. Beautiful things. The laughter of a newborn child, or well, as soon as a child is old enough to laugh. A beautiful sunset, a beautiful post-storm sunset where there's lots of clouds, so you get lots of different levels of light refracting off. Like, that's the best when you see a sunset and there's lots of clouds in the sky, and you get the color spectrum of the sun hitting the top of the clouds coming through, and then the angle straight on the clouds, and then you get the sunlight coming up and bouncing up underneath the bottom of the clouds and then coming back off the mountains. It's just fucking magnificent, man. Anywho, we understand with this, with oneness going from, with the energy going from oneness to separation, that's what we get. So the next time you are forgetting to ground yourself, or you're slacking on your grounding techniques, or your head is in the clouds and you feel dislodged and you feel like you have no foothold on the earth, get back to the roots. I'm about to get back to the roots and stick your toes in the water. You gotta ground. You gotta live here on planet Earth and experience the beauty that it has to offer, because that's why you are here, to bear witness. So all of the all's creation, so God's creation, to your, I guess, this is your creation after all. Might as well sit back and take a look. Might as well turn around and be like, damn, we're killing it. If anything, just that's the whole point. Bear witness to. That's what gratitude is, right? That's why gratitude is so important. That's why we get rewarded so heavily with gratitude, is because gratitude is just a really powerful way of saying, I see you, I acknowledge you, I resonate with you, which amplifies power. Just think music. When feedback that you hear from a microphone is a type of resonance. It grows on itself. It resonates louder and louder, out of control. It's piercing, right? That's the power of resonance. It amplifies both parties involved. Oh. Some Jung, some Theosophy. Oh, nice. I got stuff done through April. Is that what your process? I'm curious to. I would love to hear your process, Alchusian, if you're still here. Is that what you do? You'll take like a whole month off to slap a bunch of books? I would love to hear. Thank you. Bunch of alchemy, some Jung, some Theosophy. Dope. Grace, have you seen that around 1650 Quakers emerged as friends of the light, very similar to Rosicrucian and Hermetic wisdom? Roses have so many branches, actually. I work every day. Oh, I feel that. I feel that. Well, you're doing the Lord's work, Altrusian. And I love that you call them the Rosies, Rusty Utter. I love that you call them the Rosies. Recording or editing. Do you have a certain amount of time? Do you treat it like a full-time job where it's like 8 to 5 to stick to a schedule, or is it as often as you can? Oh, thank you so much, Brooklyn. Oh, Los Brooklyn, you'd like, is that a reading you request? Or is that for the knowledge, or do we need both? Thank you so much for the donation, Los Brooklyn. Oh, thank you. I've been wanting to I've got this tasty bottle of tequila, just some super top shelf tequila that was gifted to me, and I haven't cracked it yet. And I want to make Cadillac margaritas because I have not Grand Marnier. What's the other one? What's the other orange liqueur? Not Grand Marnier, but oh, it's killing me. Anywho, it's just a really tasty bottle of orange liqueur, and it tastes so good with a nice. We have jalapenos from the garden. Just make a nice jalapeno Cadillac margarita with salted rim. Oh, anywho, what was I saying? Oh, the $5 tip you just gave. What did I say I needed? I'm not sure, but that's going towards that. You just bought us drinks for the night. Basically, is what I'm getting at. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Brooklyn. Yes, I appreciate that. You are more than welcome. I enjoyed myself doing it. I had fun doing it. Thankfully, the dogs weren't fucking going ham this time. I was able to get in a lot of that. I would say 80% of that book was read without dogs barking in the background. And that helped things tremendously. I literally finished that book in I finished recording it in 2 days, which is unheard of for me. And then another like week before I finished editing it. Anywho, it was an enjoyable experience is what I'm getting at, and I loved it. I learned a lot. I hope you guys learned a lot. Yeah, thank you. Soak some Blue Lotus in it. You're on that Blue Lotus wine. Blue Lotus is with wine, I heard, red wine specifically, or can it be used with any alcohol? Because I am hip to the Blue Lotus in the alcohol beverages, but I've heard it in context of red wine. Like the Egyptians. Not like that, but it's a full-time job for sure. All right. Was curious what your workflow was like, Altrusion. I wouldn't say YouTube is quite at a full-time job, but it's pretty damn close. But I do play. I love playing music right now. I'm my energy is split between my gigging and rehearsals with the homies and YouTube. Those are my two creative loves, and then I work my day job. But I do really admire your shop, man. Or your channel. That's awesome. Everyone go check out Altrusion Grace's YouTube channel, by the way, for tons more audiobooks. Any tincture. Got it. Ben Hudson. Got it. Got it. I'm going to do a tarot reading, and then we'll call it. My phone's on 15%, so... Peace out, Altrusion. Take care, brother. Nice to speak to you. Thanks for stopping by. Okay. All right, we're gonna. Does anyone want to do a tarot? If anyone wants in on tarot, we're gonna do. A reading, and then we're gonna go inside because I'm thirsty. I need. Oh, I have water right here. Just kidding. Forgot about that. I'm gonna need some of you guys to give me numbers. If you're just coming in, we've finished our lecture that you see in the title. Maybe someone can summarize for you. I'm having you guys pick numbers so we can draw cards, and I can give us a nice little group tarot spread so that we can have some energy, so that we can have some inspiration, over the next couple days. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that? Lemuria, welcome. Welcome. However, there might not be anyone in here who got oneness to separation. So maybe I can give you a 5-second or maybe not 5-minute, maybe not 5-second breakdown of the importance of separation to oneness compared to one. Well, all right. Welcome, everyone. Hear me out. I'm sure everyone would agree that the material world is as important as the spiritual world. Both material and spiritual extend from the same thing, are they not? Meaning, it would be wise to learn them both. However, the spiritual community, at least in my experience, my anecdotal experience, has been at the least not talking about the material and its importance enough, and at the most outright demonizing the material. And what we find is people who don't have purpose, they don't know what decisions to make in their life, they don't know if they're on the right path, they don't know if what they're doing makes them happy, they don't know anything. They know spiritual things, but they can't navigate this plane at all. And the reason I argue is because of that very reason, being people are focused on the path from separation to oneness instead of the path from oneness to separation. The path of oneness to separation gives us the laws that govern reality. More specifically, the path from oneness to separation gives us things like the law of correspondence, which says as above, so below. Vibration, frequencies, resonance, the law of gender, cause and effect. Is there anything else? The mental universe, the ability to manifest with mind, to manipulate the more subtleties of existence with only the mind alone. That happens as a result of going from oneness to separation, because for there to be separation in the first place, you must need the illusion that things are different from each other. That illusion is what some would call evil, the birth of evil, or the fall from grace. Whatever you want to call it, it is a illusion, albeit a very persistent one, illusion of separation. It's what allows you to see a beautiful sunset. It's what allows you to experience the mountain peaks of happiness and the deepest caverns of despair come from contrast, come from polarity, come from differences in things. Differences in things make things more real. And reality is the goal. Manifestation, materialization is the goal. So we can't demonize or leave out the material realm, but at the same time want to materialize things. That's where materialize comes from, the word material, to make material, to take something from the ether, from the mind space, from the pure potential, and make it into a thing, into money, into a vehicle, into a desire, into a direction, into a goal. All these things are materializations, and without proper understanding of the mechanics of the universe, it's very hard to materialize the things that we want. So that's why that was, without as many nuance, that was what this video is about. That's what this video is about. And now we got some numbers. Michael says 9. Powerful number. Well played. You went with our test. You went with our test, like I see. I need another. I need one more number. Uh-oh. Which one was the 9th? Huh. Oh, whoopsies. 973. Really interesting view. Contrariness, perhaps, but that's why you have that flame that warms some, yet can burn others. Sorry, I think I read that wrong. Contrariness, perhaps, but that's why you have that flame that warms some, yet burns. Yeah. Aye. So we have one. We're gonna do. Think of a question, or have in mind a specific energy that you're dealing with, or do whatever you want, but be mindful and be aware. Seven and tree. I'm happy so far. I'm happy so far. Very happy so far. So our first card is the Six of Wands, which, let me look it up, is the Lord of Victory, by the way. The Six of Wands. Lord of Victory. And I'll read it for you guys. Right now. Fearlessly act on your convictions and others will be inspired to support your ideals. Fearlessly act on your convictions and others will be inspired to support your ideals. All right, hear me out. Hear me out. The six of this suit points to the respect and acknowledgement due to you for your efforts to solve the problems of your specifically community. The image is usually of a victory parade after the celebrated leader helped troops win a pivot. But the next one was High Priestess. Okay. This is about the leader's heroism to save the town. So in this position, it advises taking action on your most burning and passionate convictions, no matter what the social consequences. Continue to articulate and define yourself in light of the torch you are carrying. This inspires others to conceive some new ideas of their own. You may find yourself becoming something of a leader. Usually the first person to break away from conventional thought is the one to define a new trend. Under the circumstances, there is a solid need for a fresh voice and vision. So make your move. Those around you who are ready for change will support your leadership. I love it. I love it. All right, the next card was High Priestess. Hello, Riley. Good day from California. Good day from California. So put self-cultivation at the top of your daily priority list. Self-cultivation at the top of your list. So far we got to take action on that thing that has a flavor of new in your community. It doesn't have to be local community, but it could be. If you're a content creator, that's your community. If you're in any part of a business, you're in a community, right? So you're a leader in your community. Specifically, a new trend of thought, blazing new trails. Now we got the High Priestess. Our High Priestess, which is the priestess of the... All right, here we go. The High Priestess is a major arcana or trump card that represents human wisdom. The High Priestess can be viewed as a kind of a female pope, papess, one might say, or the ancient Egyptian priestess of Isis, the even more ancient snake and bird goddesses, the Greek goddess Persephone or Eve before the fall. For the accused heretics who were burnt at the stake for revering her in the 14th century, the priestess symbolized the prophecy of the return of the Holy Spirit, which is perceived as the female aspect of the Holy Trinity. That's interesting. All right. The High Priestess advises you to adhere to your chosen spiritual practice on a more regular basis. If you want the benefits of evolution, you'll have to cooperate with Spirit. We all have distractions, demands, a whole life full of reasons why we cannot find the time to retreat into our inner sanctum. Until you consider this as vital to your well-being as the need to eat and sleep, you are likely to be eternally restless and deeply dissatisfied. A spiritual routine that suits your temperament, practiced every day, is the most trustworthy path to freedom. Oh, I'm so glad that YouTube automatically holds comments for review. Someone left an audacious, kind of funny, but it would have been highly inappropriate on here, so thank you. Anywho, more ritual and meditation. Oh man, more ritual and meditation. Find your temperament. It's funny because I was just talking about the first thing that came to my mind was meditation, but as you stated, Rusty Utter, what is also important is ritual, and ritual could include the meditation, and it could be something like going to see the ocean sunset, bearing witness to beauty, being completely overwhelmed and inspired with nature's art in as many forms as possible, which as a result of amplifying your soul amplifies your reality. You know what I need to do? Amplifying soul, amplifying reality. Soul, amplifying reality, amplifying soul, amplifying soul. Amplify soul to amplify reality. All right, so you know how you're kind of like the train of thought is gone. Amplify soul, amplify. Oh, so you know how we have our law of correspondence, right? As if we learn one thing about one thing, we learn something about another thing. So in this case, we know that reinforcing a frequency makes it more real. We give something more definition, it becomes more real, like a camera, like a picture. You increase the contrast, it means you literally increase the definition of the lines that separate the face from the background. The face pops more, it looks more beautiful, it becomes more real as a result of more definition. So what if we can, by bearing witness to something like extreme beauty as much as possible, that amplification of the soul amplifies then in turn the soul's ability to amplify things. It's like a amplification roller coaster, a positive feedback loop. And you are now, because making your soul more defined, have increased the powers of your soul to give more definitions to things that it wants to define. Are you with me? I think we're onto something. Anywho, I wrote it down. So we have the 6 of Wands, which says, pull the goddamn trigger, you are a leader. Your community is ready and waiting. They're itching to pick up the pitchforks and follow your ass to go take down Bigfoot. Be careful. The next card was 3. Oh yeah, the second card was Priestess, which means you're going to have to get on your meditation again. You're going to have to amplify that soul power so that you can do the leading that you need. And then 3 was the last one. The Foolish Man. The Spirit of Ether. The Foolish Man. I don't think I've ever pulled that card before. Out of this deck, at least. I've never pulled that card in this deck. That is noteworthy. That is noteworthy. How you guys doing out there? Let go of preconceived ideas and remain open to change. All right, that's feels pretty standard. I don't. Let go of preconceived ideas. Well, the Foolish Man card goes in tandem with what was our first card we pulled? The Six of Wands. Because that first card we pulled was specifically talking about being the leader that's also a new leader and as a result somewhat of a trendsetter. And so now we get the Foolish Man, which tells us to let go of preconceived ideas, which is pretty standard when you're trying to become a trendsetter because you're doing things new, which means you. All right, so we'll read into it a little bit. Not reversed, it was upright. The Fool advises that you lighten up. Let yourself be spontaneous enough to stretch beyond the realm of logic. There is no advantage to be gained by thinking you possess the knowledge, power, or control to direct reality. Open and receive without question, instead of trying to manage what's happening right now. The Fool has no ambition to manipulate a specific outcome. Just be happy to be a part of the whole. All right, so we can't manipulate the outcome. We're just gonna have to be our silly ass merry selves, hop skipping through the field with our friggin' homies following us, hoping for the best. But I believe if we stay in tune with what we can control, stay in control of what we can control, which is the meditation and the ritual, that we'll be just fine. So your trend, our 3-card spread says you are a trendsetter and you are a leader, and your squad is chomping at the bits waiting for you to pull the trigger on doing what you need to do. The 2nd card says make sure you have your meditation and ritual routine on point, specifically that matches your temperament. And if I may add a analogy that helps plant the seed a bit deeper into your subconscious, you would not go throughout the day without eating, would you? You wouldn't go throughout the day not drinking any water, would you? Or you could, but what would it do? Severely inhibit the capabilities of your body and your bodily functions. Now, our high priestess is saying, yo, that's the same thing for the spirit. Y'all's got to be feeding your spirit daily, in as much a part of your thought process as drinking water and eating food. And our last card is the Foolish Man, which says you can't control shisa of the outcome, so you might as well just merry skip your ways, do what you do because you love to do it, you're happy to do it, you're just hop, skipping, doodling. If it feels like the blind leading the blind, then so be it for the time being. Because specifically the Foolish Man is saying you cannot know where you're going. You can't, or at least you can't control the outcome or control the hows, the goings on, the inner nuances, which is what we learn about the very feminine idea right there. The feminine is untamed potential. It could be anything. The plus side is you open yourself up to an infinite amount of ways in which to manifest what it is that you want, as compared to trying to think of the one way that it is that you're going to get what you want. There's 2 ways. You can say, okay, I want it to unfold this way. And the universe goes, okay, if you're set on that, and it takes you 20 years to manifest that shit because that one way comes 1,000 other ways that you have to hurdle. And the universe goes, okay, well, you want to try one of these other infinite amount of ways to get shit done? You go, all right, I'll try that ridiculous sounding one over there. And the universe goes, thanks, here. And then it proceeds to plug you in all the magical, serendipitous, synchronistic ways, because that's how shit happens. That's what happens when you blend that masculine together with that feminine. So without further ado, I am out of here. Thank you for spending time with me. Love you guys. Appreciate the hell out of you. And thank you for the support. you guys want to continue supporting the channel, you want to join the Patreon, would love it. Thank you for, or Los Brooklyn kicked us down with a $5 donation. That was up. Thank you. Liking, subscribing, commenting, all still free as far as last time I checked. So thank you for that too. Thank you for that too. Unless you guys have anything else to say, shall we part our ways for the evening? Shall we? Well, you guys have been busy inside of the chat section. I didn't even see that. Sorry. I'm going to read your comments, so I'm not logging off yet. Way cool. It's family community, Sophia, more ritual meditation. Yes, yes. No practice, no system, no authority other than the nameless all. Caretakers of the planet and all creatures take time to reflect on see awe and nature, perhaps. Michael Cherbro adds find your thoughts possesses. Live 369 we can manifest in 420 adds perfect adds perfect sorry change it for you. You can only use the God within you. Holy Ghost. Hello David Bank. The sound of through Holy Spirit, that does not sound though. Thought does not sound though. Much love likewise ads. Sorry, I didn't realize you guys had been commenting this whole time. I thought I was talking to the mushrooms behind me. What hertz should I listen to for manifestation? You would listen to her. It depends on the type of manifestation. And I don't know what those are. I mean, you're gonna want to stick with the. Here's a cool thing. So I think it's 432 hertz. It's got to be, what is, I forgot the mathematical term. We're getting into some. I'm trying to think of like 1,000 things at once. The different frequencies for different things. Just look them up. Oh my God, there are so many. It's debatably infinite. So I would dive deep. I would go to a YouTube channel or just go to Google or something, or someone who's super savvy in that realm, and type in different frequencies for what things, because I listened to 432 hertz frequencies for grounding, because that's the Earth's frequency. So what better way to ground than to literally listen to the frequency of the Earth? What else? I think 528 hertz is more on the feelsy side, more of the loving side, on like the almost on the dopamine serotonin side of things. I think that's 528 hertz, but they're all over the place. Yeah, they are. You gotta check them out. Back to my garden. Nice. I was in the garden earlier today too. Thanks for sharing your time. I actually feel like an interaction. Oh, thanks, Ben Hudson. That's the goal. Sorry, my dad called. Sorry, Pops. I didn't mean to hang up on you. Oh yeah, so many. I'd get a bass shaker. Yeah, there's a lot. There's. Though, sorry, my pops keeps calling me. My phone's about to die anyways. I'm at 3%, but I love you guys. I'm gonna start recording our next audiobook. I don't know, tomorrow, maybe the next day. I have a long day of work tomorrow. We'll see how tomorrow works out, or maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Anywho, I love you guys. Ben Hudson, homies, ads perfect. New, please subscribe, join the channel if you're new. Love you guys. I'll be back on tomorrow night. My phone's gonna die though. I'm at 2%, so I would like to say goodbye before we hang up. I'll be back. I'll go live again. I'll at least go live tomorrow night. So I'll see you guys soon, okay? Bye.